The history of Norway is not only about stern Vikings, snow-capped fjords, and fairy tale trolls. The chronicles of this prosperous Scandinavian country record events that balance on the brink of absolute historical surrealism. We are used to the fact that government structures are boring and serious, but sometimes officials in all seriousness adopt laws and decisions that make you marvel at their unconventional approach. From the official ban on passing away, and a penguin with the rank of Major General, to the mass import of sweets right under the nose of the police. Today we will show you the most paradoxical historical oddities of Norway. 0 graves. Imagine a town where the strictest violation is your own departure from life. If you decide to end your life's journey in this territory, your relatives will face serious administrative consequences from the authorities. In the tiny Norwegian settlement of Longyearbyen on the Arctic archipelago of Svalbard, a very real and strict regulation has been in effect for many years, officially prohibiting people from ending their days and resting here. The reason for this bureaucratic paradox is permafrost. Remains in the local soil are simply preserved in their original state, conserving dangerous century-old microorganisms that still slumber in the frozen depths. If a person falls seriously ill here, the police and medics immediately organize their forced evacuation to the mainland. Passing away within the city limits is considered a malicious violation of the established security order. A stern Arctic policeman with a stone face issues an official evacuation order to a person whose health suddenly and seriously deteriorated right on the central snow-covered street of Longyearbyen. The Subway King. During a serious national crisis, the government usually calls on the people to strictly economize. But this European monarch decided not just to issue a decree, but to personally set an example for his subjects. It was 1973. The world was experiencing the consequences of the global oil crisis, and the Norwegian authorities introduced a strict ban on the use of personal cars on weekends to save melting fuel reserves. The ruling king of Norway, Olav V, an avid ski lover, did not demand an exception for his motorcade. He put on an ordinary ski suit, took his skis, and went down into the most ordinary city subway of Oslo. The monarch, whom the nation had known and loved for decades, in all seriousness, like the simplest citizen, stood in line at the ticket office and personally paid the conductor for a ticket, taking a seat by the window in a crowded train car. The reigning monarch, proudly clutching his skis, rides in an ordinary noisy tram among ordinary citizens, proving that in Norway, equality before the law is not an empty phrase. The Red Rebellion. During a severe military occupation, when any symbols of resistance are banned under the threat of the harshest punishments, this nation found the most innocent yet incredibly effective way to confuse their opponents. At the beginning of World War II, when Norway was seized by occupying forces, the country's residents began to wear ordinary red knitted caps en masse, a traditional symbol of unity and hidden protest. The command initially did not understand the point, but when the city streets completely turned red from the headgear, they became so indignant that they officially issued a military decree banning winter hats. People spotted wearing a red hat were immediately detained. In response, Norwegians started pinning paper clips to their clothes. The occupiers were in a panic, not understanding what else they could ban for this stubborn people. Heavily armed, stern soldiers of the occupying forces, with weapons at the ready, aggressively and seriously detain a sweet gray-haired grandmother on a busy street for her small, modest, red-knitted beret. The Feathered General. The highest military honor, golden epaulets, the right to inspect elite troops, and the rank of Major General of the Royal Guard. All this officially belongs not to a service veteran, but to an ordinary king penguin. In 1972, the Norwegian Royal Guard, visiting the Edinburgh military tattoo, officially adopted a penguin at the local zoo, naming him Nils Olav in honor of their lieutenant and king. Since then, during every visit to the festivals, the guardsmen officially promote their pet in rank. Serious grown men in full-dress uniform stand at attention, giving a military salute to the bird. The penguin, Sir Nils Olav, in all seriousness, waddling from foot to foot, walks along the line of soldiers in tall fur hats, inspecting their bearing to the solemn sounds of a military band. Elite, armed soldiers of the Royal Guard with impenetrable faces stand at attention in front of a live penguin with golden epaulets on its wings, proudly stomping across the parade ground. The polite heist, the loud incident of the century in the National Gallery, the disappearance of a priceless masterpiece of world art. And the most incredible thing here is not how the intruders got inside, but what they left at the scene. It was 1994. Norway was hosting the Winter Olympics in Lillehammer. The whole country, including the police and special services, was glued to the TVs, watching the opening of the games, which the thieves took advantage of. They simply set up a ladder, broke a window, and in a matter of minutes carried out the famous painting, The Scream by Edvard Munch. Instead of disappearing into the dark, they decided to leave an official message for the authorities on the empty wall right where the great painting had just hung. The police found a neat note from the uninvited guest which read, "1,000 thanks for such poor security." A confused Norwegian policeman with a sad face looks at an empty wooden frame in the museum, where instead of a priceless masterpiece, a small white piece of paper with a polite, handwritten smiley face now hangs forlornly. The sugar cartel. The state takes care of the nation's health by imposing giant taxes on sugar and soda. But this noble goal led to the fact that law-abiding citizens massively turned into enterprising importers. Due to the incredibly high prices for sweets in Norway, a mass movement called Harryhandel emerged here, organized motor caravans to neighboring Sweden for cheap candies. Every weekend, thousands of respectable Norwegian businessmen, housewives, and pensioners get into their cars, cross the border, and fill their trunks to the brim with cheap Coca-Cola, chocolate, and gummy bears. The government is concerned about the volume of sugar imports over the limit and the loss of taxes. Customs officers at the border are forced to carefully inspect expensive foreign cars, looking for hidden over-the-limit packs of marmalade and crates of soda. A respectable businessman in an expensive suit looks around nervously, while a stern-faced customs officer seizes crates of Coca-Cola and dozens of chocolates exceeding the allowable quota from his trunk. Project Anomaly. Glowing orbs in the sky, unidentified objects over the treetops, and visual anomalies. In most countries, this is a topic for the tabloid press, but here the government is seriously investing taxpayers' money into studying this phenomenon. For several decades now, strange lights have regularly appeared in the deserted Norwegian Hessdalen Valley. Instead of writing everything off as fantasies, the authorities officially recognize this phenomenon as a historical, scientific mystery. In 1983, the official scientific program, Project Hessdalen, was launched. Using state funds, a fully automated station with radars, cameras, and seismographs was built in the valley. World-renowned scientists working under an official contract with the government analyzed data around the clock, trying to catch strange glowing energy clusters hovering over the forest in their lenses. A group of scientists with incredibly serious faces point military radars and telescopes at a bright, pulsating, glowing orb that melancholically hangs over ordinary, centuries-old Norwegian fir trees. The history of Norway uncompromisingly proves that paradoxes and unusual decisions are an integral part of the state machine. The line between supreme seriousness and pure surrealism is erased here instantly. Whether it's an official ban on passing away, a guard of honor for a penguin, or state funding for tracking atmospheric anomalies, Scandinavians know how to turn historical curiosities into concrete reality. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss our new visual investigations. Ahead are even more astonishing facts that will forever turn your understanding of the world upside down.